Everyone and their mother is spouting the whole authentic personal style mantra for 2025. But I feel like when it comes to designer bags, for the most part, we still haven't seen much of that personal style movement in this category. And if you own any of these bags I'm about to mention, please don't be offended. Maybe I'm just jealous, okay? But I feel like on social media, particularly because I do not see any of these in real life, so this may be built on an entirely false premise, but on social media, we see so many of the same bags over and over and over again. And I think that's got to be some sort of statistic. We see the same black or caramel or white Chanel classic flap, the same Hermes, Kelly, and Birkin in black with gold hardware, gold on gold hardware. Everyone has the same Cartier love ring or bracelet, and everyone has the same Van Cleef Alhambra pieces in the same Chanel ballet flats. Also, everyone seems to have the same timeless tonal beige look to go along with these classic bags and accessories. But let's focus on the bags. I don't want to call these classic bags basic. They're not. They're beautiful, okay? But just because something is beautiful and classic doesn't mean it's going to resonate with your authentic personal style. I can only imagine that it's going to be a challenge to showcase any sort of personal style with some of these classic neutral bags. Like, you would have to rely on other aspects of your wardrobe to show your personal style. Unless your personal style is just wealth, right? Like, your style is just expensive. It's wealth core, or however you want to put it. Again, please don't be offended. If I ever get offered a black or gold Kelly or Birkin from a boutique, I ain't turning it down. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna be basic right alongside the best of them. All I'm asking you to consider is, do you like these classic bags because the bags themselves are objectively classic and timeless, or because they truly align with your personal style, one that you feel best represents you and makes you feel authentic and unique and special to yourself, not special to anyone else because you have something that they may be jealous of or will admire you for? I mean, does that make sense? Like, a bag can be objectively classy, but that doesn't mean you are. And trust me when I say I don't mean that in a bad way one bit at all. I'm actually glad that this whole concept of personal style is coming back. That's really what we should have been embracing all along. Now, maybe I'm just trying to make the best out of my current situation, as well as the best of the current dip in prices on the pre-loved market. That if I'm not willing to spend 5 figures plus on a handbag, a Kelly 25 to be exact, if you have been following along my recent videos, I legit thought that would be the dream for 2025. But if that's no longer the dream, well, I feel like I don't have much to be sad about, because I keep saying this, 2025 is shaping up to be a wonderful year to go pre-loved shopping for the most unique, most one-of-a-kind bags at a better deal than we've been seeing these past few years. So in this video, I want to share with you all of the not-so-basic bags that I feel I would enjoy as much as, if not more than, a Kelly 25. And none of these are dupes for the Kelly, but instead, most of these are a fun twist on some of our beloved classics. So you can still enjoy the classics while showing a bit of drama or personal style, which to me is the best of both worlds. It's the sweet spot in the middle of a Venn diagram. Welcome or welcome back to A Briefcase of Luxury, where we love to chat about all things related to life, learning, and luxury. While I have no intentions of quitting my day job as a business professor, I would love to continue to grow this channel, so thank you for being here today. Let's stick to Hermes for a minute longer. Like, just because the Kelly 25 is out-ish doesn't mean I'm throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I'm becoming more and more open to the idea of a Kelly 35 for work, for instance, since if anything, my recent videos have really solidified the use case of designer work bags just for my personal lifestyle. But why just go for a regular Kelly 35? Why not go for one that's tri-colored or one in the Gillies style, just for a bit of pizzazz? So those are the two major variations of the Kelly 35 that I'm going to be tracking. And again, for me, it's not like I'm all of a sudden going to be rocking neon colored bags. That's still not something I gravitate towards, but you can love and enjoy neutrals in a unique and not so boring way. Like, just because it's tri-color doesn't mean it has to be like 3 primary colors, right? But if not the Kelly, then there are 3 bag styles that I'm also going to be actively tracking. All of these are so under the radar, even by Hermes standards, and some of these I've never seen or heard of until recently, but I do think they're there's something super fun about having a not so regular Hermes standard collection of your Birkins, Kellys, and Constances. Just because I've mentioned so many times now that I do feel uncomfortable wearing bags that I'm worried will attract the wrong type of attention. So first would be the plume bag in either the mini or the size 28. I love everything about it. End of story. If anything, I can see this realistically replacing the dream of the Kelly 25, especially in the mini size. What do you think? Sure, it's not as fancy, but I'm not a fancy person, right? This is what I wear on a daily basis if I'm not going into work. And so I do love the fact that the newer ones come with a crossbody strap. You also have the top handles. You have a very functional top zip that goes a little down the sides to make the opening even bigger and more user-friendly. There's no flaps or sangles to deal with. Like, it's just a functional daily little bag, but with all of Hermes's quality leather and craftsmanship. Now, the next is the Berlingo. I have no idea how to pronounce it. And it is a discontinued bag as far as I know, but I've seen this in a PM and a GM size, and these are typically a steal when you can find them pre-loved. Now, granted, I prefer the shape of the plume, but as much as the plume is similar to current trending bag silhouettes like the Miu Miu Arcady and Bow bags, this is much more reminiscent of like a Prada re-edition, right? And as much as I want to think that this isn't trending as hard, I guess this is still very consistent with the hobo bag trend. So Coach has recently released their Juliet bag, Songmont has recently released their Your Hobo, and I talked about the Lululemon crossbody bag that I ended up not getting, and now it's sold out. But again, here we're just looking at a very low-key, easy-to-use bag from Hermes that's also super functional with a zip closure and an adjustable strap that can take you from shoulder to crossbody, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. I've seen these go for as low as $1,000 to $1,500, so I think this is such a great option if you want to wear Hermes and be secretly fancy and not too on the nose with the more common Hermes bags. Like, I want the personal satisfaction of secretly enjoying an Hermes bag without anyone around me knowing it. And something like this, I feel, would help me accomplish that. Last from Hermes is the Gao bag. Again, I'm pretty sure this is discontinued. I've never heard of it, never seen it, but now my ears and eyes have been opened, so let the hunt begin. It's a shoulder-only bag, but it looks to be a great size. Again, I love the security of the zip, and because it's not a mini bag and it's kind of flat-ish, I feel like it would fit comfortably under the arm while still being big enough that any sort of bulkage will at least not be directly under the armpit. So those would be my under the radar picks from Hermes. However, if any of these options are still too plain for you and still don't speak to your personal style, then hang tight. I also want to share my picks from Fendi, Chanel, Dior, and Louis Vuitton. And what's crazy is I can probably buy the majority of these, if not every single one of them, and still have spent less compared to one Kelly 25 pre-loved. The only thing that's stopping me from doing so, it's just the lack of space in my closet. So let's knock out Chanel first, because I don't have a whole lot that I'm tracking. I'd still argue for the most part that I can safely say Chanel in general does not align with my vision for my personal style. But the first bag on the list for me would be the limited edition book wallet on chain. I've mentioned this bag in the past, but I have never pulled the trigger because they were always at a premium, but I have a feeling prices are going to be much better this year. Other than that, I feel like now would be a great time to find a more unique Chanel classic or mini flap, like something from the Puzzle collection would be cool. The Cat Emoticon collection will be cool as well. And some of their ombre limited edition flaps or metallic flaps, that would be nice. I would probably still stay away from any sort of fabric or sequins, but if I can find a non-quilted version of the reissue or classic flap, I think that would be beautiful as well, just because I really liked the one that was released last year but was totally grossed out by the quality or lack thereof. Now, if the classic flap is not your style and you want something less basic or prototypical, that may be a better word, then I think now is also a great time to consider something like the vintage Kelly style, the vintage shopper totes, and even the vintage version of the graphic catch, which I think is being re-released this year. Basically, this is your sign to go vintage in order to find better quality and more unique alternatives to the regular Chanel classic flap in black with gold hardware. Unless that is authentic authentically what you feel best represents you, then of course, please do you. Next, well, it's been a long time since I've bought anything from Louis Vuitton. Again, I'm just seeing so many vintage or limited edition finds on the pre-loved market. It's hard not to even be a little interested. For instance, along the lines of the Chanel book wallet on chain, Louis Vuitton had something similar from their cruise collection a few years back that I would love to hunt down, and it's in this reverse monogram. I don't know what it is about it, if this really resonates with my personal style, but really it's a fun representation of my love for books. So yeah, you can say I am drawn to these for that reason. Next, if you are above paying retail price for the Petite Mal, like now is your time to go nuts, because A, these don't retain their value very well, and B, I'll give Louis Vuitton credit here. The variety of designs when it comes to the Petite Mal is incredible. How can you not find a version that you feel speaks to your personal self or style? For me, it would be the extremely elusive Symphony Edition. Again, I'm drawn to this because it resonates with my personal life and interest, although anyone who has studied music can tell you that most of this is gibberish, which makes it even funnier. And also, let's not forget the Speedy. They have released so many limited edition versions over the years, and even their Capucines, and those don't hold their value very well either. And we just have so many collections to choose from. So yeah, if I truly decide to shy away from the Kelly 25 this year, I can already think of a handful of bags from Louis Vuitton alone that I think would be so much fun to finally have. Now, the caveat here would be something vintage from the Murakami collection. The prices on those are just doing nothing but climb this year. Like, you have to be quick and actively checking to snag a deal on those these days. By the way, I'm not even going to react to any more Murakami collections. We know what's going to happen. We know the pattern, so there's really nothing to talk about. I know I see so many videos launching about the Cherry collection, the Plum Blossom collection, and how disappointed people already are or are going to be, so there's nothing really to talk about there for me. Next, let's talk about Dior. It's no secret that the Lady Dior is terrible when it comes to retaining value. It's always been bad, and you can say it's just extra bad these days. But instead of opting for like a classic black or cream colored Lady Dior, might I interest you in something less classic? Maybe something in tweed or in denim or embroidered. Again, there's been so many fun iterations of the Lady Dior over the years, and you're starting to see more of them on the pre-loved market, because I feel like a lot of people have just grown tired of the cons related to the Lady Dior. For me, I've decided that if I ever were to add one now, it would be vintage, and it would be something with a very unique design element. And I'm going to recognize it for its flaws, for what it is, and just enjoy a unique vintage Lady Dior bag. Now, I don't know if this is going to stick, but if you were to ask me right now, this very moment, if I could have a Lady Dior, which version I would pick, I would have to say I would want something from the Pixelated Constellation collection. I might change my mind tomorrow, but right now, in this moment, that's the one I would want. Only because it's such a fun and silly take on such a serious, classy bag. It's like the perfect juxtaposition. I saved Fendi for last because I honestly don't quite know where to start. I'm seeing so many new drops and styles that I've never considered before on the daily. So let's first talk about the vintage Fendi Chef. I don't know why. I know these have been around for a long time, but I feel like I'm seeing this bag for the very first time with fresh eyes. And there are two versions that I have seen drop recently that have caught my attention. The first is this black leather one that looks like an oil spill. And the second has this beautiful leaky tie-dye canvas. If anyone can tell me more about this, like if Fendi released any other bags with this canvas, like please let me know. I am desperately in love with the canvas. I'm honestly more in love with the canvas than the billowy shape of the chef bag, but I'm willing to overlook the shape because I love the canvas so much. And we got the baguette. I don't think I need to say more. I can't even begin to track all of the limited edition baguettes that are in existence. So suffice to say, I think the baguette rivals Louis Vuitton's Petite Mal and Speedies and Capucines in terms of being able to find one that is going to be unique, that you most likely won't run into someone on the streets with your exact same bag. The only issue I have with trying to find the perfect baguette pre-love is that there's almost too many choices, you know? It's leading to analysis paralysis for me. I'm worried it's also going to lead me to build an entire sub-collection of Fendi vintage baguettes instead of this being a one and done thing. And finally, let's talk about the peekaboo. There are three in particular that are currently living rent-free in my head. This white monster peekaboo, this blue marble peekaboo, and this star-studded peekaboo. Now, when we talk about personal style, I feel like these are the ones that just give me baby goosebumps. Even after all these years since their initial release, they still make my heart sing. Now, are they the most practical? I mean, one has fur and is in white, one has velvet, and one has studs, and I can already see the little prongs on the studs wreaking havoc on any piece of clothing that it comes close to, but still, goosebumps. So there you have it. These are the different types of bags I'm currently tracking right now. And it's a lot, I know. And the issue is I feel like every day there are new rare bag styles that are dropping constantly, to the point where my attention is being diverted all over every day. There's something new and interesting that's not your cookie cutter Chanel classic flap or Hermes, Birkin, or Kelly. But I'm really trying to be mindful of why I want to add a bag to my collection. Is it because of what the bag objectively is, or is it because it's something that truly resonates with my authentic personal style? There is a slight difference here, and then you also have to recognize whether there is a difference between your fantasy self style and your real self style. Here, when I think personal style is not who I want to aspire to be, it's not the style of my fantasy self, because fantasy self me isn't real. However, I can only imagine to some degree we may all want to aspire to have a certain look that sends a certain signal. So can I look at a Kelly 25 and say, oh yeah, this bag is so me? I can't in good faith say that. If anything, I would feel like I have to live up to the reputation of the bag, you know what I mean? But what if instead I opted for bags that I thought would be so me? Like, how would my collection change? Food for thought, I guess. Let me know if you are on the hunt for any unique, one-of-a-kind type bags that you feel like can help refine your personal style. As always, if you made it to the end, thank you for sticking around. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I can't wait to see you back next time.